At the heart of the American idea is the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion. As we mark this 9/11 anniversary, it's notable to remember that America was attacked by those who rejected both. Yet now in America, the cultural left also opposes free speech and religious liberty. And any assault on the foundations of our nation is a danger to all of us. Recently, I had a chance to sit down and talk about some of this with Erin Hawley, who is an attorney for the Alliance Defending Freedom and who is married to Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri. Erin, we're seeing this growing trend of conservative beliefs being deemed as hate speech, the criminalization of free speech in America. What effect does this have, especially for people of faith, when we think about parental rights, free speech, religious rights?
Absolutely, and ADF represents all sorts of clients from all walks of life who are encountering this in their workplaces, in universities, in schools, in their businesses. And indeed, initially, or recently, I should say, ADF has started a viewpoint sort of survey of companies. And you would be surprised at how little free speech is valued, and indeed is even squelched in some of these major companies we hear about. And this is a real problem. It goes much deeper than even the legal issues and the cases that ADF represents. It's a cultural issue, and it really needs to be addressed.
In a recent article, you mentioned that the U.S. is one of 6 countries in the entire world that allows abortion. Thinking about the founding of America, thinking about the freedoms that are supposedly granted, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to all people, why is this significant?
So absolutely. So it's an astounding fact. As Chief Justice Roberts pointed out at oral argument, there are only 6 countries that allow abortion for any reason up until the moment before birth. And that puts us in the company of China and North Korea. And that's really just not the sort of human rights company that we want to be keeping, especially when you look at that history from our founding, when you look at the history preceding and postdating the 14th Amendment, there is no right to an abortion in our country's history, nor in our Constitution.
Alliance Defending Freedom was involved in an important case regarding compelled speech in crisis pregnancy centers in California, and reached all the way to the Supreme Court. Tell us a little bit about that case.
Sure, absolutely. So the case name is NIFLA versus Becerra, and I would recommend it to all of your viewers. It's a fantastic read and really illustrates just the importance of these free speech issues. The government in that case had required pro-life pregnancy care centers to tell their patients about abortions and in fact to refer them to abortion providers, something that their deeply held beliefs prohibited. So they challenged this all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said no. Free speech protects pro-life pregnancy care centers just as it does everyone else, and the government cannot force them to speak about or to refer clients for abortion procedures.
For young people maybe watching the show and listening to you and your story, they believe in Jesus, but they've been told, whether it's from an educator or from the media, that they are to keep their faith to themselves. What encouragement, as they're maybe moving into college or they're moving into their career, what would your advice and your encouragement be to them?
Well, I think just to share, to be the salt and light. And I think one thing that you see with the recent protest following the leaked opinion in Dobbs is a real difference in demeanor. And you see pro-life individuals, if you look at the March for Life, you see them being salt and light. They are changing the conversation because they are caring about women and children. And that's just a difference that the world can see and recognize. So I would actually encourage the very opposite. I think you're called to the Great Commission calls us to make disciples of all the nations, and that includes our workplaces. So that's something, our workplaces, our colleges, our places where Jesus has called each of the listeners, and I encourage them to be bold in that call.
Yeah. Wow, an attorney that understands the Great Commission and is serving here in Washington, D.C. Erin, thank you so much, and we are grateful for you, grateful for Alliance for Defending Freedom, and how you are standing in the gap for so many Americans who love this nation and love the liberty and the freedoms that our founders ensured for all of us, so thank you.
Thank you.
We certainly live in trying and divided times, but the gospel of Jesus Christ, expressed through His church, is the hope of our world, and the freedom to share that is worth defending.